Hi, welcome back to another video. As you can see by the title, how I've made millions in real estate without owning a single property. There's an interesting stat out there that states that 90% of millionaires earn their way through real estate. That's very, very interesting, but it gets a little deeper. Of that 90%, 67% of them are first generation millionaires, meaning they're self-made and didn't come from a lot of wealth. That stat was really interesting because in my opinion, real estate is the easiest way to build wealth and earn the millionaire status. And I'm glad you're here because in this video, I'm going to explain how you too can gain millions in real estate. You see, it was actually really accidental how I came upon this technique that I now use in real estate. I had a client a couple years ago in a past life of mine in personal training, and this client would always come in around 10, 11 a.m. And I always found this time slot very interesting because, as you know, most people work 9 to 5s and they work 8 hours a day and they have a 15-minute break with the lunch somewhere in between. But this guy could always come, mid-morning, sometime early afternoon. And I always found that really interesting. I didn't normally get into people's business and ask what they did for a living, but this was very intriguing because I saw that he had ample amount of free time. And so I finally asked, how are you able to come in at 10, 11 a.m. or sometime early in the afternoon when most people are at work? And he explained to me that he uses a technique called rental arbitrage. Of course, I got to asking a million questions. Well, what is rental arbitrage and how are you able to do this? And do you have apartments? Do you have houses? Like, what is this rental arbitrage thing? And he explained to me that rental arbitrage is actually where he goes into these apartment complexes or he'll find a private landlord. He'll ask them to rent it out as if he's a normal renter and then proceed to run a business out of this space. After lots of questions and coffee shop meetings with my now mentor, I stumbled upon this technique called rental arbitrage that has now been completely life-changing. It's changed the trajectory of my family's wealth building and also been able to help those around me as well. I now have mentees. I offer coaching in this same exact business that I learned 2 years ago. It's been a complete blessing, and in this video, I'm gonna break everything down. I'll be covering what rental arbitrage is, how to get started, the monthly profit reveal, the furniture that needs to go inside these units, and much, much more. When someone brings up the term rental arbitrage, that just means that they are running a business out of a space that is not theirs, meaning they lease this, they rent this, they do not own this. Some of the pros to this is that you don't have the overhead that comes with a normal investment property. In real estate, most of the times when it comes from an investment standpoint, you have to put 20 to 25% down just to get into the unit or the house or the apartment, condo, whatever it is. But from a rental arbitrage standpoint, usually it's just a deposit, which could probably just mean $1,000 down, and then the space is yours for the next 12 months. This is a more common technique than you would probably realize. All of those homes on Zillow and apartments.com, not everybody owns those. A lot of times they're just running a rental arbitrage play, or also known as a corporate lease. A corporate lease is just a fancier term for rental arbitrage, meaning you do not own this, but you are running a business out of this particular space. The main key for rental arbitrage is that 9 times out of 10, these units are already going to be furnished, meaning it's up to you and I as the host to furnish them. These people are traveling from across the world or staying for 1 or 2 nights. They're not going to want to haul around a TV and a couch everywhere. So it's up to us to furnish these. There's a plethora of ways that you can find these deals. For me personally, I love apartment complexes. You can drive to different complexes and see if they allow corporate leases, or you can save time and call around by searching the internet. Other ways, you can scroll Zillow.com or apartments.com and find private landlords. Oftentimes, especially if they're having trouble renting out the space, you can give them a call and say, hey, look, do you allow corporate leases here? Sometimes they'll say yes, sometimes they'll say no. But the ones that say yes, go ahead and scale there. For me, like I said, back to the apartments, I love these because not only can I get 1 unit, but if I can get 1, I can get 2. And if I can get 2, I can get 4. And I've managed to scale my portfolio this way. It's the best thing walking in real estate, and it's time for you to get started. There's numerous ways that I'm finding tenants to fill these spaces. Again, I'm running a business out of here, and the most expensive unit is the empty one. There's no reason to ever stay empty because there are so many different ways that you can find tenants. Let's go ahead and start with Airbnb, and this is in no particular order. These are my bread and butters as far as filling my units. Airbnb is probably the most popular. These people are staying on average from 1 to 2 nights, and it's ran like a glorified hotel, meaning after each stay, your cleaning crew will come in and clean. Now, it's important to have a cleaning crew in all of these because your cleaning crew is what keeps your business going. If you don't have a clean unit, nobody's going to tell the good word about you. And if it's dirty, they're going to spread like wildfire that your place isn't clean. Reviews are real, and in Airbnb, reviews are always king. Make sure the unit is cleaned and turned over on a nightly basis or after each stay, and so that your business can continue to run smoothly. Next up is Facebook.com. Never underestimate the power of social media when it comes to finding tenants. Not only can you find them for short term, like 1 or 2 night stays, you can also find them for 12-month leases in numerous groups. You can also find them for travel nurses if you type in Midwest travel nurses, and I promise all these groups will pop up. All of these different places you can post your listing on these platforms, and I promise you, people will always be looking for housing in numerous ways, Facebook being a main one. Thirdly is Vrbo.com. Similar to Airbnb, it's ran like a glorified hotel. The place is furnished, people are staying on average for 1 to 2 night stays, and it needs to be cleaned after each stay. Again, cleaning is going to be your most important item when it comes to tying everything together. A glorified hotel means you need to clean it, change the sheets, and make sure the coffee maker is full. These are all things that people are looking for when they're traveling from 1 to 2 night stays, from state to state, country to country. Make sure that the correct systems are in place so that your business can run smoothly. Next is FurnishFinder.com. Furnish Finder is actually very unique versus the rest because these are primarily traveling healthcare professionals and definitely my bread and butter. These tenants are staying 13 weeks at a time, and they're more so known as midterm rentals. Vrbo.com and Airbnb are more so for short-term stays, meaning 1 to 2 nights or maybe a week max. Typically, people who are traveling on those types of platforms aren't staying for 3 to 4 months at a time. Furnish Finder is very unique in that way. So for this, Furnish Finder is almost like the middleman, meaning the tenant is able to reach out to you or I, the host, and everything after that is done off of the platform, meaning I collect my own payments, I send out my own contract lease agreement for signature, versus Vrbo and Airbnb, they have to get their cut, meaning the tenant or the guest pays Airbnb or Vrbo in this case, and then Vrbo or Airbnb then pays me after they check out. Typically, me as the host won't even have contact with those people who are only staying for 1 to 2 nights. So Furnish Finder is very unique in that sense. I do everything myself. So you have to be very, very organized in order to do this business. Again, these people are staying 13 weeks at a time. So from a cleaning standpoint, it only needs to be cleaned after their 3 or 4 month stay. Versus the 1 to 2 nights, again, it's turned over every night. You do have to be organized in all of these businesses, but they are unique in their own regard. So make sure that you choose the one that best fits your goals for the business. One key feature that I love when it comes to Airbnb and Vrbo is that you can actually link your calendars and sync your calendars together. Because they are so similar, Vrbo and Airbnb kind of partnered up to where you can upload your calendars and sync them together so that you don't get double booked. Remember, organization is key in this business, no matter which avenue you choose to find tenants. When it comes to furnishing these units, think about if you were staying anywhere for 1 to 2 nights or 13 weeks at a time. Everything you would need to survive during that time needs to be put in those units. It may be a little different from market to market, but generally it's all the same. Make sure you have a queen size bed in the unit. Make sure you have a coffee maker in the unit. Make sure you have Wi-Fi that's working correctly. These are all essential things that are needed in the unit, no matter which avenue that you choose. And matter of fact, while we're at it, go ahead and comment down below everything you would need for a 13-week stay and everything you need for just 1 to 2 nights. I'm interested to hear the unique responses in the comments. The main difference between the 1 to 2 night stays and 13-week stays is that the shorter stays may be looking for a little bit more entertainment, meaning a ping pong table, video games, maybe board games. That definitely doesn't hurt when it comes to furnishing your unit. From a 13-week standpoint, they're just coming for work. They're going into work for 12-hour days, and they just want to come to a nice, quiet place with some working Wi-Fi. Of course, you might furnish these places a little bit differently, so keep that in mind when you choose your avenue. When it comes to these tenants and what they're actually looking for in a unit, from a 13-week standpoint, I would definitely say that they're just looking for something that is close to work, maybe within 10 to 15 minutes, and hopefully they have amenities in the area. Not necessarily in the building itself, but definitely attractions in the area. This could be a beach, restaurants, zoos. Keep in mind, these people are traveling from across the world to be in your particular market. So make sure that you lead with this and actually put it in your listing when it comes to marketing. Anything that you can think of that can separate you from your competition, you want to make sure that you lead with this and put this in your listing. So from a 1 to 2 night standpoint, if you have a pool, put that in there. If you have free parking, put that in there. These are all things that are going to separate you from your competition that your next door neighbor may not have. Make sure you lead with this and make sure you let it be known when it comes to marketing. While we're on the subject of separating ourselves from our competition, make sure that your photos do the talking. Make sure that they pop and stand out from the rest. For me, I use my iPhone. I promise you that it works just fine. iPhones, Androids, they're great. No need to hire a professional photographer just to take photos. Now, of course, you may want to throw a filter on there just to separate yourself a little bit more, but I promise there's no need to go out and pay a whole bunch of money just for photos when our phones work just fine. Once we've taken our photos, we've uploaded them, and our listing is officially live, we need to understand what platform we're on. With Airbnb, you don't need to do much. You'll probably get bookings in the first 24 hours pretty quickly. Verbo, the same way. When it comes to Furnish Finder, you actually have to do the legwork, meaning once you upload, yeah, the tenant's able to reach out, but after they do reach out, you need to get their phone numbers, get them on the phone immediately, and close the deal. Since everything is done off of the platform with Furnish Finder, you need to be prepared to close the deal, meaning you need to let them know what type of amenities that they'll have access to, what type of attractions they'll have access to in the area. How long does it take to get to their respective hospital? All of these things are very important so that you can get your first tenant and close the deal. For future Furnish Finder tenants in particular, I require first month rent and security deposit. I make sure that I take this up front along with the contract lease agreement that I'll have them sign electronically that I'll automatically receive a notification for once they sign that. Again, these systems have to be in place in order to stay organized. I then collect all payments through either Venmo, Zelle, or Cash App from a Furnish Finder perspective, or any other mid or long-term platform that I may use. I will definitely say that all platforms are useful. You just have to figure out which avenue is the best for your lifestyle. Do you want to continue to work your 9 to 5? Then great. This is definitely doable and it can be passive. You just have to figure out how much money you want to make and how hands-on you actually want to be in the business. When it comes to the cost of actually getting started in this business, keep in mind 2 factors. 1, you're paying for the furniture that are going inside of these units. 2, you're paying for the security deposit that is upfront to the private landlord or apartment complex that you're renting from. Remember, in this business, you're paying as a normal renter. You have monthly rent due on the first of every month, and everything after that is profit. My bread and butter are 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments. So all the number and cost breakdown will be based on those. To furnish these units, I'm looking at anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000 to furnish. Again, that's a queen size bed, a couch, a TV. Everything that I would need to put inside these units costs anywhere from $1,500 to $2,000. Thankfully, that's just a one-time fee. After that unit is furnished, you have it for the rest of the lifespan. So you don't need to throw that into your monthly cost breakdown because again, that's just a one-time fee. Usually my rents are anywhere from $1,000 to $1,400 a month. Again, these are 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom apartments in my particular market. Market rates may vary from city to city, state to state, country to country, but this will work in every market. Make sure that you just create the cost breakdown from a nightly rate standpoint or a 13-week standpoint. Make sure that you do it based on the rent that you're actually paying. That's how you create that profit. From a revenue standpoint, I'm seeing anywhere from $3,000 to $3,500 per unit. It's going to be a little bit on the increased side because I can adjust the nightly rate. if it's Verbo, Airbnb. I can charge a little bit more if Taylor Swift's coming in town like she did a couple weeks ago. I can charge a little bit more if the Super Bowl's coming in town or a big name concert. Keep in mind, everything's adjustable and it's at a nightly rate basis, so be sure to charge accordingly. From a 13-week standpoint, it's a flat rate. So after they sign that lease agreement from day one, I can no longer increase the rates on a nightly basis. So both are great, but again, you have to choose the avenue that works best for you. So I've been in this business for 2 years now, and of course I've made a lot of money. From a revenue standpoint, we heard the numbers. From a cost breakdown, we heard the numbers. I started with one, and now I have 30 of these. And so it's really, really important that I stay organized. I myself have a property manager now because I have so many. But if I was starting out today and I just had one, there's no need for a property manager. That will increase your monthly expenses, so there's no need to get into that. But once you get 5, 10, 15 units, anything after 5, I think it's time to go ahead and pay your money for a property manager. Because again, the goal of this is to probably be passive. We probably have a 9 to 5 or want to get going. So there's no need to put extra stresses on something that should be passive. Go ahead and pay that extra fee if you are scaling at a fast rate. If you stay till the end of this video, that means you're serious about your goals and serious about increasing your wealth. Look, I'd also love to be your coach. I have numerous mentees that I'm helping in this very business to make millions. You have to start with one, and I would love to be your coach. Look, you stayed to the end of the video, right? Be sure to comment your favorite part down below, and also be sure to subscribe. This is exactly how you get out of the rat race and level up. I'll see you next week for another video.